It is a great honor and a privilege to introduce Chava Dinner. Your maiden name was Lopart. We're here in your beautiful apartment in Jerusalem. And Chava, could you tell us a little bit about your family history?
Yes. My father was originally a Dutch Jew. The Jews came to Holland in the 17th century, and they came from Alsace, I think, from Germany, South Germany, or Alsace, or Lotharingia. Lotharingia. I think they came from the Rhine, but 4 centuries ago. And so he was a real Dutch Jew, and my grandparents. My mother was a refugee from Germany. She came to Amsterdam, not to Amsterdam, she came to Holland from Germany. She was born in Frankfurt am Main. In 33, they fled, my grandparents, from Germany to Holland, and my parents married in 36. 3 years after she came to Holland. She was and I was born in 37. This is a picture this was in 41.
And you were born in Amsterdam?
I was born in Amsterdam, yes, in Amsterdam. My parents married and lived in Amsterdam. And this is in myself. My parents, this is my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, with myself and my sister. This is my grandmother. These are my parents and my sister and myself.
If I could just look at so your sister was older than you?
No, younger.
Where is your sister in the picture?
My sister is a baby. The baby here.
The baby.
The baby here. The baby is my sister. I'm here. I think 3 or 4.
Perfect. I could just look at this. Wow, I just want to show. This is an amazing picture.
Yes. Be careful, because things are loose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just going to show.
I can pull it out. If you want to, I can pull it out.
They're very special. And what was your sister's name?
Hadassah. February 40. I was 2.5, 3. No, I was 2.5. 2.5. For February 40. February 40. And I think the same time, this photograph, February 40.
The same time.
The same.
And Chava, you remember your grandparents?
Only my grandmothers, because my grandfathers were passed away when my parents married. They not young. Oh, but I can remember. This is my mother when she was in Hachshara. She was first in Hachshara, Hachshara of Mizrahi Hachshara in Holland.
Was your family a very traditional family?
Yes, Orthodox? My grandfather in Frankfurt, he was Austrittsgemeinde, how you call it? Agudat Israel.
Agudat Israel, yes. So they were very orthodox.
Yes. And, okay, this is a picture of the marriage of my parents.
Sure.
My parents married in Amsterdam in 36, November 36.
And were they married in the main shul, or?
I think, but this is the banquet.
The reception.
No, more than. I think it was in shul, yes. I don't know where they did marry exactly. With the location, I don't know the exact location, but it was in Amsterdam. And I'll put it back later. And okay, I have some, this is a picture of my mother when she was in Harsha. She learned milking cows in the countryside of Holland.
Was it a very Zionistic family, a very Zioni family?
No, my mother was rebellious because her father was Agudat Israel and she was Mizrahi. So sure. It was she was rebellious. And then I'll tell you about the war, the Holocaust. I have to tell you about the Holocaust. The Holocaust, I was hidden in a little place, in a little village in north of Holland. My parents wanted to let me in hiding. I was hidden, a hidden child. This is the house I was hidden in.
And do you remember when you had to leave to go?
Yes, of course. I was 5. It was in 43. I was hidden in 43. I was 5. Of course, I can remember because I was a big child, big girl. And I have more. These are my grandparents from my father's side.
I'll just take from here. This is one.
They are very young here. It's not so important. You want to hear about my hiding or about my family?
Both. It's both so important.
Yes. These are resistance people from the north in North Holland. They are Hasidei Umot Olam.
Righteous amongst the nations. Yeah.
His name is Brouwer, the family. He saved my life because he brought me to the family who hid me. This picture is from, I think, from after the war. I think after the war. They were not very young.
And Chava, can I just ask you, what is your first recollections that you remember as a young child?
No, one from my first recollection is the yellow badge. I was 4.5, but I didn't have to wear it. But I can remember my parents wear it for the first time. It was the 2nd of May, 42. Then the Jews in Amsterdam and in Holland had to wear the yellow badge. So that I can remember. And of course I can remember my when I left home. That I can remember. When I left home, when I went to the hiding place, I was 5.5. 5.5. I was a big girl. A big girl can remember.
And did your parents explain what's happening?
They did not have to explain because I can see. I could see the transportation of the Jews, because we lived in a Jewish quarter, not in a Jewish quarter, in a very modern quarter where many Jews lived. So we could see everything. We could see the transportation, the deportation. You could see it.
Do you remember ever seeing German soldiers?
Of course. They went everywhere were German soldiers. Grüne Polizei. They are not soldiers. They were they were the Wehrmacht. They are the German soldiers, but the German soldiers were at front in Russia. Not in the Grüne Polizei is that German policemen, and they did it with the Dutch policemen, of course. Did you know?
Yeah, they collaborated together.
They did it together, the Grüne Polizei and the Jewish policemen. The German policemen together with the Dutch police.
And there were, I think from the Judenrat, they also had to help.
Yes, but the Judenrat pretended to protect the Jews, but they did not go on the street. There was a Judenrat to protect, but not to help, only to protect. They didn't do it very much. They couldn't do it very good, as you know. I have here some pictures from after the war, if you want to see.
Okay.
When I came to, I was in the village, in the little village.
Can I just ask, what happened to your parents?
My parents were deported, and they came to Westerbork, if you know what Westerbork is. And they were sent to Sobibor, and they were killed in Sobibor in July 43. But I was taken to the village to be hidden in March.
Of 43?
43. Everything in 43. Because my parents had a spare. You know spare? What spare is? An exemption. They had an exemption. So it was already 43.
How come they had an exemption?
Many Jews had an exemption. But an exemption is only a delay. It's a temporary exemption, you know, the spare.
So they were needed.
They were needed for food, for not very useful, but you know, if you have something to do to help the community, you get a spare. So the Nazis could not deport all Jews at once. So
They did it in stages.
They did it
gradually.
Gradually. So they gave some an exemption, a temporary exemption, and slowly they got them all. They got even the Jewish council, the Judenrat. Oh, the Judenrat went to the camps.
They also.
They went to the camps. At last.
Yeah.
They went to the camps. Some of them returned, but we know from all camps were remnants. Even from Sobibor and even from very few. And from Auschwitz there were remnants. Dutch Jews returned from Auschwitz, some maybe 2,000. Do you know how much Jews were in Holland? 140,000. 140.
This is before the war.
Before the war, yes.
It is one of the highest percentages, a very high percentage of Jews in Holland.
75% were annihilated. 75%. But what do you want to know especially about my hiding, about my rescue?
Can I just ask, Chava, what happened with your sister?
My sister survived. She lives in Holland, yes.
And she was also put in hiding?
She was in hiding as well as me.
But in different places?
Not at the same place, no. Another family.
So did you ever ask your parents, well, you were so small, but when they decided that you should go into hiding, what do you remember when you had to say goodbye to them, or what did they tell you?
They said to me, we will come and take you, and you have to wait patiently, wait, we will come. But at least they did not come. Of course, but I got used to the family I stayed with. I can show you a picture, but pictures were made after the war, not in the war. This is a lady who hid me. Not she, her mother, but her mother was not a very old lady, but she got ill in the war, and she died at the hospital. Her mother.
What were their names?
Her name, Van de Pol, a Dutch name, Van de Pol. And this is a lady, but her mother did not survive because she was ill and died. But this is after the war. I am here, I think I'm here 8 or 9, I think 9. But when the war was, we were liberated by the Canadians, and then I was 7.5, April 45. We were liberated, and then I was 7.5. 5.5, 7.5.
That was 2 years.
2 years. I stayed with this lady 2 years in the war and a half a year after the liberation, because there was no solution what to do with me. My parents did not return, so I had to be.
So can I ask, who came to fetch you? You're such a small child, and
my aunt. I had an aunt. She's not living anymore, but the younger sister of my mother came to see me after a month or...
Is this after the war?
After the war, of course, after the war. She was hidden as well.
And she survived?
She survived, yes, because she was hidden.
So
and she looks like she's very bright. She's blonde, and she's Aryan. She's not Aryan, but she looks like. I'll show you a picture of her, and can you see? She is a very. I have a picture, and she. This is. I can show you a picture. This is my mother, and this is my aunt. You can see she is blonde with blue eyes. She looks like a German girl, but she's Jewish.
And what was her name?
Bertel. So she came to see me 2 months after the liberation.
And while you were hidden, did she ever come and visit, or did she?
No, she couldn't. Of course, she didn't even know. Everything was
all secret. It was so dangerous.
It was dangerous. She did not even know where I was. But after the war, she was told, Chava is there and there. If you go there, you will see
Chava,
her.
I would like to ask you, can you tell us a little bit about when you left your parents to go into hiding? Do you remember saying goodbye to your parents?
Yes, I can remember saying goodbye.
Was it very emotional? Or did you think it was going to be very temporary?
Of course. A child does not have any concept of time. Because if they say to you, you have to go to a short time to the village, okay, it will be over in a few weeks. But my parents, they knew the truth. They knew the truth. They knew they have to. My father knew that he wouldn't see me again. So for them it was very emotional, of course. And but they did not show it to me. They say goodbye and we will see you again. And for me it was no, I can't say it was very emotional for me, because a child doesn't understand such things. I think I couldn't understand it.
And who came to fetch you from your parents?
A lady from the resistance. The resistance, the underground.
And you went, okay, it was...
Yes, of course. I knew it was in order to save my life. Because I understood it was very dangerous. It was very dangerous to stay. It was very dangerous to stay in Amsterdam. People fled away.
And did your parents discuss with you, or did you just knew that you had neighbors and friends that disappeared or were taken away? You understood the situation, even at the age of 5.
But I told you, you could see the people were taken from the streets.
Did you ever personally see it, or did you hear?
You could see it from the window. You could see the people put into trucks and taken to Westerbork or to the Schouwburg. Schouwburg is a collection place. The Jews were first collected in the Jewish. Joodse Schouwburg and the Jewish theater, and from there to Westerbork, and from Westerbork to the camps. Okay, I understood it was to save my life.
And where did she take you?
She take me to Friesland, the province in the north.
And how did you get there?
By train.
And was this the first time that you've been with a stranger? Just you and it must.
Yes,
it's not a simple thing for a 5-year-old to be.
Yes, she was a complete change to me, strange to me.
And was she nice to you? Was she pleasant?
No, I cannot remember if she was pleasant or not. I think I slept the whole way. In the train. I cannot remember anything from the journey.
And when you got to the house?
Yes, I was awake. I was awake.
And were they very welcoming to you? Were they very loving?
Yes. Yes, the Brouwers were very nice to me, but I stayed only 1 day or 2 days at them, and then they transferred me to the place with my address. I'll show you another picture. The house. I showed you the house, but I have to show the lady, the old lady. I have one picture of the old lady. It's not the old lady. This is the old lady, but here she is young. Here she is 50, maybe. This is the old lady and this is the young lady. But here she is 16. And when I came, she was already 30. She was born in 30. No, not 30. 13. 1913. She was born in, I don't know. And this is the old lady. But here she is maybe 50. 50 when she died when she was 63 or something.
And what were their names? Do you remember their names?
Van de Pol.
And her first name?
Yes, Bernardina. Dina and and Elizabeth. She was. This is Elizabeth, and this is Dina. Bernardina. They are Chasidei Umot HaOlam.
And they were recognized at Yad Vashem?
Yes, they were recognized. But not, 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
And were they very compassionate to you, and were they, when you came, or was it,
no,
were they loving? Were they loving at all?
It was
a difficult question.
It is a strange family. It's a very strange family. A family without a father. The father left. So I think the grandmother, I called her a grandmother because she was 60 when I came. 60. And her daughter was 30 when I came. I think I loved more the grandmother, more than the daughter. But at the end of the war, only the daughter was left. So so she was left. She was the only of the family. She had brothers and sisters, but all went. After the war, I did not see anyone. All went away. They went away.
And during the war, did they used to come and visit?
Yes. Of course, they came and visit. And she had brothers. She had 2 brothers. And one died in Germany, and one came back. Forced labor, you know. And the one who came back, he left for Australia. He emigrated. He did not want any connection with his brothers and sisters. And all went away. Another sister went to Canada. And I didn't see, and after the war, I did not meet anyone. Only her.
And did she ever marry?
No, never. She never married. She remained single and no children. There were no children in the house.
Must have been so difficult for you.
Yes, it was not pleasant. It was not so pleasant. Because I was only child. I did not have any company of my age.
Could you go to school or?
No. Of course not.
So
it was secret. I was secret in their house.
And the neighbors, did any of the neighbors know?
Of course, there was a neighbor who knew. Yes, a family of the neighbors knew. The neighbors knew. Once, yes, she had a friend in the neighborhood, and they knew about me. And her sisters and brothers knew about me, but they kept silent. They kept silent.
So, Chava, what did you do during the day? How did you keep yourself occupied?
I read, and I had to make homework. Homework. I had textbooks a little bit, but I was smaller. I was 6, 7. So I had toys and dolls. And I don't know. There was a little garden. I could sometimes play in the garden, but alone. There was a little garden after the house. So, I know.
Were they a religious family?
Yes, they were very religious.
Were they?
But they did not go to the church.
Were they Protestant or Catholic?
No, Protestant. In the north, almost everybody is Protestant. But you know, in Protestantism you have streams. I think 3 or 4 streams Protestant. It's very complicated.
It's Calvinism and
yes, they were Calvinism. Yes, they were.
Did they ever try and not convert you or try and?
They could not convert me officially. Officially, they could not. After the war, she said to her friends, "Yes, I want to baptize her," but she couldn't. She couldn't. Of course, she couldn't. She only talked.
Did she used to spend a lot of time speaking to you or?
Yes, she was at home. She was at home, so she could
communicate.
Yes, she could stay with me. A big part of the day, she could do things with me, play with me or talk to me. Not the whole day, but a good part of the day. But she said she wants to baptize me, but what they did, reading the Bible, after the meals, after one meal, not all meals. I think only after supper. After supper, they read the Bible. Now, the Bible, it's the New Testament, the Old Testament and the New Testament, both. Sometimes they read Old Testament and sometimes they read New Testament. So I got very acquainted, so very good. I knew the Old Testament and the New Testament. But I could read. I think I read the Bible. But if I understood something, I don't know. Because the translation of the Bible, the Dutch Bible, is a translation of the 16th century. They called it the Staten Bible. It's a very difficult Dutch. It's Dutch, but archaic Dutch. So even if I could read it, I didn't understand very.
And Chava, did you always know that you were Jewish?
Of course, but we talked about my Jewishness. They openly, they said me, you are a Jewish child.
And they weren't anti-Semitic or?
A little bit.
You could feel it?
Yes, a little bit anti-Semitic, a little bit. Half. They loved me, but the mothers, the grandmothers, they said, yes, we should rescue Jews. It's our task to rescue Jews. So we rescue you because we have to. It's our duty. It's our duty to rescue Jews from the Nazis. But it endangered them by being there. But I think in the villages the danger was not so good, not so great, not so big. But it was dangerous, of course, because people talked, and they could. How you know?
They could inform. They could
inform. Yes, but they didn't.
And Chava, food-wise, did you always have enough food, or did you go? Was there always enough food for you to eat, or did you go hungry at times?
No, food was enough. Food was enough in the beginning. Most of the time there was enough food. In the village you have milk, cows, everything, sheep, pigs, everything. But the last winter food ran out. There was not, but for never had, no one had food. The food ran out, so we have very little food. But I cannot remember if I was hungry. I cannot remember. I think maybe a little. No, I was not very skinny. I was not very skinny at the end of the war. I have one photograph of the liberation. I don't think I was very skinny. But food, there was very little food. This is a picture at the end of the war. There is no date on it. Maybe I can find the date. This is at the very end of the war. She is, you can see Elizabeth,
yeah.
She black.
Yeah, very.
Why? Because she is mourning the death of her mother. Her mother died in January 45, and this is in March or in April, I think. I want to see the liberation. Can I see? I will show you the liberation. It's a very, very cute picture.
What's also amazing is that all these pictures survived. How did the pictures survive of your parents?
Somebody kept them. Ah, no. This is the liberation. I have two. I have two, the same. They are the same. This is April 45. April 45. This is the liberation. You know, I have a dress, a white dress. This is a dress made from a curtain, because there was no textile anywhere.
And who made the dress?
Elizabeth. She was very.
She made the dress.
competent? No.
Competent. She could.
Can
I just bring it a bit closer? This is amazing.
But she could sew and knit and everything. She had very good hands. This is the liberation. Yes, I think I'm skinny here. Am I a little bit skinny?
But not too bad. Not bad at all.
Very. I'm 7.5.
But you know that what we see with these pictures, you're not smiling. You seem a little bit sad.
Yes. I think I'm sad. I was sad. I was sad here. No, I'm smiling. I'm smiling.
Yeah, you are smiling. Yes, you are.
Yes, I'm smiling.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Yes, I'm smiling.
And Chava, did you know what was going on in the war? Did they have a radio, or could you?
They
hear
did not have No, you could not have a radio. A radio was prohibited by the Nazis. And if you have a radio, you were sent to the camp. We had illegal press, illegal newspapers, so I could read and know, and I knew everything. I think I knew about. I asking myself, when did you first heard about gas chambers? I think in 1944 we already heard about gas chambers. I think in the illegal newspapers there was something about it. In the illegal newspapers, we had an illegal newspaper.
And did they discuss with you what was going on in the war?
No, they did not. No.
I think maybe they wanted to protect you, or...
But I could read. When I came there, I could already read. But because in Amsterdam, I went to school, to a Jewish school. As I was 5.5 and I learned reading. So I could read newspapers in the war. The illegal newspaper, there was one illegal newspaper, came into the house. They bought it. Because people need information, so they had a newspaper.
And do you remember with the war, was there any fighting going on nearby where you stayed? Did you hear any aeroplanes or any...
Yes, I could see. You know V2? V2, I could see it, V2. From Germany to England. The missile, you could see them. They flew all over us. They flew. The V2. V2. It's a missile, huh?
Yeah.
So I could see them in the sky. And the Nazis came, in 1944 the Nazis came to take young men for forced labor. And they shot. They shoot. Yes, they were shooting. They shot. So I heard the shooting.
This is in the village where you were? Yeah.
In the village, yes. In the village. They took boys to Germany. They took the boys, 2 boys of the family, and one was killed there.
In Germany, yeah.
No, not the Germans did not kill him. The Allies killed him because they bombed the factories, and when the factories were bombed, so all a big amount of forced laborers were killed. They knew it. They said, we have to, if you want to stop the war machine, you have to bomb the factories, and they bombed, and so they killed people. Nothing to do about it. Nothing to do about it. Okay?
And can I ask, when the war ended, do you remember the day that the war ended?
Yes, 20 April, but it's written on the
Was there
photograph.
celebrations in the village? Or?
Wow, there were, of course, there's celebrations, big celebrations about, of course, it was a big simcha. Everything was, there was big joy.
And you could now come out of the house and you could...
The moment the Canadians came, I came out of the house. But earlier, I went earlier. Just, I think, 2 months. I think the first time I could get out of the house in public, just in public, was at the funeral of Savta, of the grandmother. Yes, and then many people came to condolate, how you say?
Condolences.
Condolences, came to bring condolences, and they came into the house, and they saw me. But it was in January or February 45. So it was not secret anymore. It was not secret anymore.
And was this the first time that you ever were seeing a funeral? Or going to?
Yes, I think it was the first time I was in a funeral. Yes. And I was never in a funeral before. But for Savta, for his grandmother, I could go to the funeral.
And was it in a church as well, or?
I cannot remember the church, but I can remember the field. How you call
the cemetery?
The cemetery, yes. The cemetery I can remember. The cemetery. Not the church, the cemetery. Maybe it was in the church, but later I had to go to church. After the liberation, the first Sunday after the liberation, I went to the church.
With the daughter?
With kids, with Elizabeth, yes. Yes. She forced me to go to the...
And was it very strange to go inside?
Of course, but I went to school. I went to school.
You started not going to school?
The first day after liberation, I went to school.
And how was it like going to the school?
It was lovely. I had friends.
And you made friends immediately?
Immediately.
And they knew you were Jewish?
I think they knew.
And it wasn't a problem, it was... Did they ask you questions?
Maybe they asked. But I had to speak their language. That was difficult. That was difficult. I think I spoke their language already a little bit.
Was it different to the Dutch?
It's not Dutch. No, their language is not Dutch. It's Frisian. It's a Celtic.
Is it similar to Dutch?
No, it's different. It's different.
And did
Frisian,
you speak with...
Frisian.
You spoke with Elizabeth in Frisian?
No, with Elizabeth I spoke Dutch.
So how did you learn the language?
I think slowly I learned very quickly the Frisian. I think they taught me a little bit Frisian. So when the liberation came, I could already speak a little bit Frisian, and I can... You know, a child learns very quickly, forgets it very quickly.
And you made friends immediately?
Yes, I had friends immediately. At school.
And the teachers were kind to you?
Very kind, yes. The teachers were very kind.
And the other children as well, they were?
Yes, they were very kind at me at school. The school was wonderful. It's wonderful, you know, 2 years without any schooling.
It must be. It's amazing.
It's a joy to go to school. If you stay at home, a child stays at home 2 years without schooling.
And you could catch up. You could.
Yes, because at home they bought me textbook. You know, little books for arithmetics and language, so I could write and yes, I kept up.
Did any of the children know that you were in hiding, or did the teachers know?
Of course, the teachers. When? During the war?
No, after the war.
Of course, everything knew. Everybody knew.
Did people ask you? Did they?
I can't remember that. If they asked me, if they questioned me. Maybe. I can't remember.
But it was a happy time. It was a...
The school was a happy time, yes.
And at this time, did you think what's happened to your sister and to your parents?
Yes, of course, I waited. I waited them to come back, but they didn't. And
And when your aunt came, when she came to see you,
she sent a letter in advance. She sent a letter. So the letter came, I think, a month after the liberation or 2 months after. She came very soon after the letter. The letter came, and after a few days she came by herself. So in the letter she wrote everything. She wrote everything.
That your parents
will not return.
And did she know that your sister had survived as well? Your younger sister?
I think she went to see my sister, because my sister was hidden in a place not very far, not very distant. She went to see her as well.
And how was your feelings when you realized that you have family?
That I have family, yes. Yes, I was. It was pleasant to know that I have still an aunt, family. Another. I think we have to finish because it's.
I know how but this is unbelievable. When you met with your aunt, were you very emotional when you met her?
Yes, I was happy to see her, but she told me another an uncle survived. My father's brother. My father had a brother who survived as well. So I had an uncle from father's side, and I had an aunt from mother's side.
And did your mother's sister, did she take you with her?
But she didn't. No, she didn't. No. No. I had an aunt. An uncle in Palestine. And I had an uncle in Palestine. My uncle, my mother's brother, came to Palestine in 38. In 38, before the war. Before the war, he came here. So I knew I have an uncle in Palestine, an aunt in Holland, and an uncle in Holland.
And a sister.
And a sister. So I knew I have family. In the war, I didn't know about. After liberation, everything was known.
And when did you first see your sister again?
I cannot remember the exact date, but I saw her. I saw her after a few months. I think in July or something. In the summer, June, July, August.
And did you stay together when you saw your sister?
No. They was at her family and I was at my family.
And when you saw your sister, that must have been, it must have been a very emotional.
I was not very attached to her.
Because of the separation?
No, I was not very attached to my sister. I knew I had a sister, but we were not very attached.
And did you grow closer with the years?
It took a lot of time. It took very, very long to get attached. Because we never grew up together. Never. After the war, we never grew up together. So, she stayed at the family who rescued her, who had her. And I was in a children's home, and later I come to
the children's home
in Holland.
Was it a Jewish children's home?
A Jewish children's home.
And your sister didn't want to come and join you?
She wasn't asked. They didn't ask her. There was a trial. Every child, every orphan, at the court. It's a court decision where a child should go. Okay? A child without parents, a child who had parents can go to his parents, and an orphan has to be a trial on court. And the court says, you go there, and you go there, and you go there.
And how long did you stay in the orphanage?
It was an orphanage, a children's home.
For how long were you there?
4 years.
And was it a good experience?
Very good, yes, very good.
With other Jewish children?
Mm-hmm.
And from there you came to Palestine?
Then I came to Palestine.
Before?
No, it was Israel.
So you came after 48?
Yes, in 49.
In 49. And your sister didn't want to join you?
She wasn't asked.
Oh, it's so sad.
She was not asked.
So Chava, I am so grateful to you. Chava, can I ask you a very difficult question?
I do not answer all questions.
Okay, but this you can decide. It's a very difficult question. But I feel if I could just ask you.
I never answer all questions.
Okay, but if you were put into the position of, if somebody came to you and said, would you rescue somebody who's not a family member that would endanger...
I cannot answer you. I cannot answer this. I don't know. It's a very difficult question.
But these people were amazing.
Yes, they were amazing. They saved my life.
And Chava, can I ask, what message do you give? What message can you give to your family, to the future generations? Because you've seen so much and you've been through so much.
Survival is the main thing of life. Survival. You have to survive.
And you happy you came to Israel?
To came to Israel. In the beginning, I didn't want to come to Israel, but later I agreed to come. I wasn't asked. I was sent. Okay? Children under 15 were not asked. They were decided on. You have to go there or there or there. But if you are 15 or elder,
you could make your own decision.
You could, yes, you were asked.
And your family in Israel, you had a close connection with?
Yes, of course.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So Chava, I just want to thank you. 1 minute. I'm so grateful to you.
You did not tell me.
Chava, I'm just so grateful to you. I just want to thank you very much, Chava. I'll explain to you.
What is the aim of this interview? I did not ask you.
Okay, so I'll explain to you. Chava, your story is it's riveting, it's unbelievable. What you went through.
But there are hundreds of stories
Chava,
like my story.
No, but it's
hundreds.
Chava, what your parents did, that they put you in hiding. It was a big sacrifice what they made, and they made the right decision. But
they made a sacrifice,
a very difficult decision, incredibly difficult.
But yes, of course. But do you think, if you have a child, you want to you wanted to survive?
But Chava, you are not only a survivor, you are an amazing person. You should just have mazel and bracha.
Thank you very much.